What's up, Duelists? MD here, and today I am with my good buddy
Spade, and I'm gonna show you guys my freaking awesome deck of Madolches.
That's right, guys. I've actually had some of you ask me to profile Madolches for a while now, so here you go, guys. I finally delivered in some form.
Alrighty, so this deck, it's an older deck. It was tier 1 or so back in the day, but not so much anymore. However, don't sleep on this deck because it's really wacky, and it'll definitely deliver some shenanigans, as my good buddy over here can attest.
Yeah, definitely not a deck to be underestimated.
Alright, so we'll get into it. I run 3 Messengelado. He is one of the clutch guys of the deck. What he does, well, all Madolche cards, as you see, this ginormous paragraph of an effect, they all have the same effect, that if your opponent were to destroy it by battle or effect, they would bounce from the graveyard back to the deck. So that's what half of this humongous Harry Potter book text says. The other half is his personal effect, which is if he were to be special summoned and you have a beast type Madolche on the field, you can then search a spell or a trap, a Madolche spell or a trap, which that comes into play with some cards that I'll get to in a bit. The next 3 we have is going to be one of my personal favorites.
An owl.
Mr. Madolche Hoot Cake, aka Mr. Owl. So yeah, the same effect. If he were to be destroyed, he gets shuffled back into the deck. What he does is, if you can target a monster in your graveyard, banish it, and then if you do, you can special summon a Madolche from your deck, except another Hoot Cake. And you can only use that effect once per turn. He's a really important piece in this deck. Next up, we have 3 Mageline.
Or as many of you fans like to call her, waifu. Don't lie. Don't you dare lie.
She's important in this deck because she's your search card. When you normal or flip summon her, she can add a Madolche monster from your deck to your hand, which that comes into play like with everything else. I'll explain that a little later. That can be really important in this deck. Next, we have the main piece of this freaking system right here, Angeli. She is a beast. She's sick. So when you summon her, you can go ahead and tribute her off, and then you can special summon a Madolche from your deck. It gets shuffled back into the deck during the end phase of your next turn, and the monster that you special summon out can't be destroyed by battle. So she goes hand in hand with Hoot Cake, because what you would do would be you would summon her, you would pitch her to the grave, and then you summon Hoot Cake, remove her from play, and then you can get Messengelado out, and then that's how you get into some of your magic or trap cards. Like I said, this deck is really combo heavy, and you can definitely pull off some shenanigans with it, so that's why I love it. The next 2 are going to be Madolche Mewful. So this is essentially for all of you guys that are like old school, this is like Marauding Captain in a way. When you normal summon it, you can special summon another Madolche from your hand. That also comes into play with Messengelado because it's a beast type. So they all work off each other, and that's pretty awesome. The last Madolche is going to be Pudding Cess. I'm debating whether or not putting a second one in here for the Xyz monster that I'll get into later. She's a fairy type, which that goes into another card as well. If you have no monsters in your grave, she'll get 1800 attack and defense. And after damage calc, if she battles a monster, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So that could be spell or trap or monster, and they all bounce back to the deck. or hand, so you shouldn't really have monsters in grave. But if you do, it's fine. And then my one-ofs are going to be little hand traps. Maxi, aka roaches. And then you got Ghost Ogre. These are 2 hand traps, which those end up being food for Hootcake because you can just dump them to the grave and then remove them so he can go off. This is for drawing cards because this deck you definitely want to have a lot of cards in hand to get to your pieces. And then this is just to say no. That just says no.
No.
Yeah, just no. So now we're going to get into the spells. We have 2 Chateau and then 2 Ticket. Now this is your main bread and butter. What you want to do is you want to have Chateau and Ticket on the field as fast as possible together. This is a field spell. When it's activated, you shuffle all Madolche monsters in your grave back to the deck. So that also works for your extra deck, or monsters as well. If you have some of the Xyz monsters, you can put them back, and then it helps recycle. All Madolches on the field will get the 500 extra attack and defense, and if they're in the grave and would be returned to the deck by the effect of a Madolche monster, which is, they all have that effect of returning back, they'll go to your hand instead. And then what Ticket does is when a Madolche card is returned from your side of the field or graveyard back to the hand or main deck, you can add one from your deck to your hand. Also, if you control a face-up fairy type Madolche, it'll get special summoned in face-up attack instead of adding it to your hand. So that helps flood the field, and then they go off. You definitely don't want that. You don't want them to snowball, because, yeah.
So, yeah, those spells search for everything.
Yeah, definitely. Then we have our 2 instant fusions, couple fusion. This will help us get to another piece in our Madolche fun. We have 2 double summons because having that extra normal summon actually helps out when you have a whole handful of sugary goodness and you want to set it up real well so you can mess up your opponent's day. You got 2 Forbidden Chalice. What that does, you target a monster. It gains 400, but the effects are negated. This, I use this mostly on my opponent's monsters. Yeah, they get 400, but honestly, half the time they want to use their wacky little effects, and you just say no to that. Most of your monsters are going to be buffed up from the field spell anyway, and you'll be ready for it. So that 400 really is, is nothing compared to saying no to any kind of effects.
Yeah, so giving them a little bit of an attack boost is like nothing, because negating their effects hurts them so much more than that extra boost would hurt you.
Especially in, the way the game is going now, mostly everything is just, summoning and different kinds of effects. So you want to just try to shut those off as fast as you can. And then next we go into the one-ofs. We have 1 Twin Twister. I did have this at 2 at one point, but honestly, 1 is just fine in this deck. Discard a card, so right there, that gives you more food for Hootcake. And then target up to 2 spell or traps on the field, destroy them. That's always nice. You have Upstart, because who doesn't want a 39 card deck, right?
I missed it when we had a 37 card deck.
Yeah, I missed the good old days. And then, you got old Darkhold and Raigeki, because why not? And now we'll get into the traps. So we have 2 Madolche Palooza. This card is one of my favorite traps ever. What you do is you flip it, and then you go ahead and special summon any number of Madolches from your hand, but then shuffle them back to the deck during the end phase, which honestly, that should never happen. If you use it on your opponent's turn, and then you special summon out your monsters just, for whatever reason, they're not going to get shuffled back to the deck. If you have the field card on it, or on the field, they'll go back to the hand. Also, If you use it during your turn, you're going to get a nice full board, and then you're going to go off, and your opponent's going to cry in the corner.
In the corner? No, you make him cry on a desk where everyone can see.
We have 2 breakthroughs just because, again, no effects. That's simple as that. Sometimes I'll side these out for Fiendish, but I don't know. Breakthroughs are just fine. And then we go into the one-ofs, Bottomless, Torrential, and then Vanities. Now, be careful with Vanities no matter what deck you're playing, because, everyone's special summons, so you need to know when to play that. This is a very heavy special summon deck. I mean, you have the double summons, so that helps giving you an extra normal, but you still got to be careful when you use that, because you don't want to mess up your own strategies. And then we have Know the card. Solemn Strike and Warning, because, again, effects and monsters are a bad thing, and we just want to tell people no. Finally, we'll get into the extra deck. So, my 2 fusions, these are my targets for Insta Fusion. We haven't seen this guy in a really long time, but the one and the only, Fusionist. I have 2 of these because it's a level 3, easy to get out, and that helps me get into my rank 3 Xyz monsters to help with the strategy. And then we'll go into the Xyz. We have 1 Grand Pulse. This is for those spell and traps on the field. Just discard them. It's a nice wall. You special summon it and defense 28. A lot of people can't get over it right away. That helps. We have 2 Levier because you're going to be removing monsters with Hoot Cake. And I'll show you guys a couple combos in a bit. But yes, he is a very important piece in this deck. And some people run it at 1 when they play Madolche. Personally, I feel 2 is a must. We have MX, Saber, and Volker. I run this at 1. I mean, 2 back in the day was a thing. But honestly, 1 is just fine. But you need this in this deck. Cowboy, because Bang Bang... you have no idea how many times you win for game just by using a Cowboy.
Bang bang, 800, boom.
We have Castell, because bye Felicia, send it right back. Send the card right back. Abyss Dweller. I will always run Abyss Dweller in this deck because, things like BA and any other thing that uses the graveyard, this says no to that. And again, always say no. We have Heartland Draco. Some people run this, some people don't. I run it because you're always going to have a face-up magic card on the field, whether you have your spell or your ticket. I mean, your chateau or your ticket, you're going to have face-up spell cards, so he's always going to go off. And then, last but not least, this is the main of this deck, ladies and gentlemen, Tiramisu.
And three ultimate rares, nonetheless.
Oh yeah, buddy. She's the man, I tell you. I tell you. Okay, so not only does she recycle your cards, but she sends 2 cards on the field. So just sends 2 cards, any monster or back row, back to the deck. Does not target. You have no idea how many people get confused when they think, oh, well, my card can't be targeted. And I'm like, well, buddy, they're leaving. She does not care. And that's why she will forever be one of the best Xyz monsters in the game. I run her at 3. Some people run her at 2. Never run her at 1. But 3 is perfect because they will remove her from play. And you can always get her back, though, by using the Chateau card. But yeah, I run her at 3. She's like the bread and butter. She's the life of this deck, the boss monster. And then after her comes Pudding Cess. I just started using her recently. I never really went into her, and then I was actually in a tight spot, and then I remembered, oh wait, I don't need to have 2 level 5s. I can just overlay her over Tiramisu and attack the game. She has 2500, so with that extra 500 boost, she comes to 3000, and then she can special summon. You can detach a monster from her and special summon a Madolche from your deck. So she helps like flood the field and stuff. She comes in clutch a lot, but like I said, that's the absolute bread and butter of this deck. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this deck it's pretty combo heavy. You need to definitely know what you're doing. Like I said, you want to have those 2 on the field, and then they all play off each other. That gets you another one out. You go ahead, special summon, or normal summon that, special summon that, and then you can search any of those. You can even search your trap card to help you set up. I mean, they all just play off each other, so it's a really, 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 really fun deck. Ask my buddy here; he knows firsthand just what they can do.
Oh yeah, definitely. Matter of fact, after seeing what they can do, when I played against them a few times, I'm heavily considering trying to get the deck myself.
Yeah, it's luckily. I mean, I don't think that that it's too hard to get. I know some of them got reprinted. You definitely want to have 3 ofs in this deck. Like Angeli, she definitely needs to be at 3. There's speculation about having her at 3 or 2. I like her at 3. That's the formula that I always used back when they were big, and I stick with it because it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that was
great setting in mind.
That was my deck profile, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yes, we did very well indeed, Mr. Spade from the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, that's our YouTube channel. We go over like deck profiles and stuff. We haven't really been on there too terribly much lately, but we are definitely inspired after seeing our buddy over here succeed, and he definitely gave awakened a little fire in us.
Aw, thanks. By the way, the Shadow Realm link to their channel is definitely going to be in the description down below, so after you're done with this video, definitely be sure to check out their channel. They got some really cool stuff there.
Appreciate it.
And with that, this profile made me starving.
Yes.
Like, I want some cake now.
I have enough all in here.
Oh, man.
Eat that much cake, you get diabetes.
Mm-hmm. This is YuGiBeaties, the deck.
All right, guys, if you liked the video, be sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And again, go check out the Shadow Realm, guys. See what awesome stuff they got there.
Appreciate it, man.
So this has been Magician Descendant and my good friend Spade, and we will catch you guys later.